So far in this channel, we've talked a lot about the importance of saving money, what to do with your paycheck, ways to avoid financial mistakes, and a lot more. But one thing we have yet to touch on is how to approach investing your money for long-term financial growth. Well, that ends today, because in this video, we're going to talk about the magic of index funds and how you can leverage their power toward your financial future. Before we get into it, what is an index fund? An index fund is a collection of stocks meant to track the performance of a specific index. It tries to be the market by purchasing equities from every company featured on an index in order to mimic the market's performance. It can help investors balance risk in their portfolios since market swings are less volatile across an index compared to individual equities. An example of an index is the Standard & Poor's 500, simply known as the S&P 500. It is made up of the top 500 US companies in the stock market. If you invest in the S&P 500 index fund, it means you're investing in the 500 large companies listed on stock exchanges in the United States. Now that you know what index funds are, here are 9 things to remember before starting your investing journey. The first thing is that index funds are an excellent way to diversify your portfolio. If you don't have much money but still want to invest in the stock market, index funds are a great way to start. They provide automatic portfolio diversification. You can own hundreds of companies in that index by just investing your $100 in an index fund. The second thing to remember about index funds is that there are different kinds to invest in. We just mentioned the S&P 500 and total stock market index funds, but there are hundreds of different index funds to select from. Before starting your investing journey, define your goal. You might be interested in highly specialized industries such as technology or healthcare, so you can start investing in their index funds. Instead of buying shares in an individual medical firm, invest in an index fund that monitors dozens or hundreds of medical companies. The number 3 thing to remember while putting together your portfolio is that you should not believe the hype around actively managed mutual funds. A financial advisor may talk about all of the resources that go into an actively managed mutual fund to make it appear as though it's active and that it is somehow superior to a standard index fund. But historically, it has been proven that an index fund outperforms an actively managed mutual fund almost every time. Why? Because fund managers are not always successful in selecting investments. And, over time, broad-based index funds generally continue to rise. Actively managed funds also have greater costs than index funds. Which brings us to number 4, the fees associated with investing in index funds. Expense ratios are the first item you should look at. These costs vary depending on the brokerage firm you choose to invest with. Wells Fargo offers an S&P 500 index fund with a 45% cost ratio. Let's compare that to Vanguard, who offers the same index fund investing in the same companies. Amazingly, the expense ratio is just 4%, 10 times cheaper than owning the same index fund with Wells Fargo. If you want to learn more about investing, then be sure to subscribe to Finance Spark, where we post videos every week to help you spark your financial mindset. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button and smash the bell icon to be notified every time we release a new video. The number 5 item on the list is that some index funds have a minimum investment requirement. Once you've surpassed the first minimum contribution, you can continue to invest in that index fund with any amount. But the minimum investment can be intimidating for first-time investors. Vanguard, for example, has a higher minimum investment, but there are other available index funds that provide no minimum requirements. Or another option are exchange-traded funds, which is the next item on our list. The 6th thing to consider is that many brokerage firms provide an exchange-traded fund, or ETF, similar to their index funds. Index funds and ETFs are very much alike. But keep in mind that if you're searching for a specific index fund and don't have the required minimum investment, you should check to see if they offer an ETF equivalent, which is cheaper. If you visit Vanguard's website, look for the ETF equivalent of your chosen index fund, which is listed on the same page. If you want to invest with a brokerage firm but can't afford the minimum investment for their index funds, check their ETF equivalent. The 7th point to remember when investing in index funds is that they often pay dividends. Dividends are profits that a company distributes to its shareholders. If your index fund has companies that pay dividends, you get to earn distributions simply by owning that index fund. Most of the time, these dividends are given out quarterly. When you want to receive income from your assets, investing in index funds with dividends is one of the options. In fact, there are ETFs and index funds that specialize in high dividend companies, so be sure to do your research. The eighth item to keep in mind is that index funds are less taxed than actively managed mutual funds. Actively managed mutual funds undertake a lot of buying and selling, which can result in capital gains tax, and this tax is passed on to the investor. For index funds, they do not purchase and sell nearly as much as actively managed mutual funds. As a result, index funds investments have reduced taxes. The ninth and final thing to remember when investing in index funds is that they're often capitalization weighted. A capitalization weighted index fund means that you are not investing the same percentage in each company. They aren't all created equal. To identify if a specific company makes up a greater percentage, they must have a higher capitalization or value in the stock market. This is significant because when you invest in a capitalization-weighted index fund, you are putting more of your money into larger firms. When your capitalization-weighted index fund follows the whole stock market, you will own more companies in the technology sector since they're the most valued on the market. These are companies such as Apple, Google, and Meta. If your index fund drops dramatically, look at the bigger companies that make up that index fund. Those companies are less likely to have had a stock market collapse on the same day. When investing in index funds, you're putting more of your money into the largest corporations that make up the stock market. Index funds have some pretty great benefits when it comes to investing. They are a powerful investment vehicle and a great, secure, and safe way to get started in the world of investing. While there are definitely no guarantees in life, and you should always do your due diligence with any sort of financial plan, I really love index funds for their super simple but super powerful approach to growing wealth. How about you? Are you a fan of index funds? Which are your favorites? Let us know in the comments below. That wraps it up for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time around when we keep sparking our financial mindsets.